Hello, my name is Azzahra. I'm from Satria Vocational School, SMK PGRI 13 Surabaya, and I can tell about one newspaper I can read, and the title is Bird or Reverse on Aeronauts. European can wake in. Sorry, I can uh, share screen. Wait, oke, sudah terlihat.
Sudah.
Sudah terlihat. Excuse me.
Yes.
Satria, Fathan.
Yes.
On aeronauts, European can week in against foreign praise. Frankfurt, German. The European Central Bank (ECB) launched a survey on Monday asking citizens to weigh in on the redesign of European notes, with reverse birth and European culture among the shortlisted themes. You want Europa to identify with the design of European notes, which is why they will play an active role in selecting the new them. ECB President Christine Lagarde said in a statement, the online survey running until August 31 has responded to share their opinion on 7 possible themes for the new notes. This include bird, free, silent, inspiring, and reverse the water of life in Europe, as well as more abstract ideas such as the future in yours, European culture, and our Europe ourselves. The ACB, which has also tasked a research company which asking a representative sample of euro area citizens the same question will announce the chosen themes next year. A decent competition will follow and European will again be as good as their favorite option. For the euro bills which come in 6 denominations, the ACB will announce the final decision of the future design and on when the new notes will be produced and issued in 2026. The Frankfurt Institution announced in late 2021 that it wanted a fresh look for the 20 years old banknotes. The original design for the block single certainly was fraught with political tension and ended up consisting of similar illustration of architecture to avoid trailing national rivalries. ACB officials have expressed the hope that by involving the public in the phase life, young Europeans will feel more connected to the single shortly, regularly updating banknotes. It's also necessary to stay a step ahead of counterfeiters in a world where reproduction technology and rapidly evolving. The statement added. Okay, thank you. Maybe the next.
Oke. Ah, wait.
Bisa di pause dulu mungkin. Sorry Fatan, bisa di pause dulu.
Hello, my name is Satria Andika S.M. I am from Boyolango Vocational High School. Now I want talking about Chinese Airlines set sights on Spain. Add more flights. By Reuters. Madrid or Amsterdam. Chinese Airlines have upped the number of weekly flights to Spain by more than 5 times since the end of China's zero-COVID policy in December. filling most of the gap left by European rivals due to a ban on flying over Russia. We've managed to restore 60% of the direct connection with China we had before the pandemic. And we hope to increase this figure by year end and close the gap next year. Miguel Sanz, General Director of Spain's Tourism Board, Turespana told Reuters. Air China, China Eastern Airlines, Cathay Pacific, and Hainan Airlines have in the past 4 months launched a total of 16 weekly flights to Madrid and Barcelona from Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Chongqing, according to Turespana. In late 2022, China's airlines operated only 3 flights. Shenzhen Airlines is preparing to launch 3 flights to Barcelona and another island. Sans will not identify is considering connecting a Chinese city with southern Spain. Airlines, including European ones, used to operate 30 weekly flights during the high season between China and Spain before the pandemic. Spain received 700,000 Chinese visitors in 2019. This year's numbers are not yet available. Unable to fly through Russian airspace because of the war in Ukraine, EAG Spanish unit, Iberia has not resumed its Shanghai connection as alternative routes are too costly. Spain is one of the world's most visited countries with mass tourism destination on its Mediterranean coast. The capital city, Madrid, underwent a facelift during the pandemic as part of a plan to attract five-star hotels and high-spending tourists. Seeing an opportunity to diversify connection, Turespana moved quickly to attract China's carriers back to Spain as soon as Beijing dropped its travel restriction. Sun said he was the first Western tourism official to visit China earlier this year to promote that plan with authorities, tour operators, and airlines. Sands, who also chairs of the European Travel Commission, pointed to similar levels pent-up demand for travel in China as in Europe or America. Spain is strengthening consular services in China to make visa approvals simpler. He added, triple cap. In spirit development, the Dutch government is allowed to reduce the number of flights at Schiphol Airport. The Amsterdam Court of Appeal ruled on Friday. Airlines, including Air France KLM, had won a case in a lower court against a government plan to cut annual flights there to 460,000 from 500,000. Wait, in a, stat in a statement, KLM said it was disappointed by the ruling and was studying it. The government had announced the cap in February, calling it a temporary solution to cut noise pollution and to tackle other environmental issues. Royal Schiphol Group, the operator of airports in the Netherlands, is majority owned by the Dutch state. Okay, that's from me. Thank you. Maybe next.
All right. Today I am storytelling about welcome to the Anthropocene new chapter for Planet Earth. Okay, so before I am share screen. Next. Okay, wait. Okay, I repeat again. Welcome to the Anthropocene new chapter for Planet Earth. Scientists seek to find the threshold for the epic of humans by Merrill Hood. Agency French Press or Paris. Science 2009, a cloistered band of heartthrob geologists and other scientists have toiled on a mission of great consequence. On Tuesday, they will deliver the last of their finding, the location of ground zero for the Anthropocene, the proposed geological epic burn of humanity's outsized impact on the planet. In a sense, the Anthropocene working group was mandated by the High Priest of Earth geological timeline to answer three questions. The first, roughly, is this. What aliens shifting to Earth's layered rocks and sediment a million years from now discern a human signature distinctive enough to mark a clear geological boundary? If they did, when would it start? Yes, the working group concluded. Human appetite and activity have affected the planet and its inhabitants from the stability of the Holocene epoch, which began 11, uh, 1100 7,000 years ago as the last ice age ended. The world is getting uncomfortably hot and its life support systems are failing. The threshold for the epoch of humans, first proposed in 2002 by chemistry Nobel Paul Crutzen, they said should be the mid to 20th century. This is when a sharp surge in greenhouse gas concentration, microplastic pollution, invasive species, radioactive traces from atom bomb testing, and a dozen other markers of our species' growing influence added up to what scientists would now call the Great Acceleration. They leave us the question of the golden spike, the single leg deposit, coral reef, ice core, or other geological repository of evidence that best embodies the Anthropocene. The winner will be announced Tuesday in joint press conference at the Max Planck Society in Berlin and a meeting of working group scientists in Allier, France. A paradigm shift presented, presented as recommendations. The fruit of the working group's long labors must now be validated by a gauntlet of skeptical no scientists at the International Commission on Stratigraphy (ICS) and higher up the food chain, the International Union of Geological Science (IUGS). The chances of that happening are slim, according to almost everyone involved. At one level, the issues under debate are narrowed to the point of penetrate, crop experts quibbling over whatever the Anthropocene merits inclusion in the International Chronostratigraphic Chart, the planet's official 4.6 billion years timeline. Some geologists say it does not meet the technical criteria, even as they acknowledge a rupture with the past. At the same time, marking the end of the Holocene and the start of new epic would focus us to ponder humanity's devastating impact. For the first time in Earth's history, a single species has not only made radically changed the planet's morphology, chemistry, and biology, but is aware of having done so. Cruzen, who earned a Nobel Prize for identifying the man-made chemicals destroying the proactive ozone layer. However, the concept and reality of the Anthropocene would focus minds on the challenge ahead. It could well be a paradigm shift in scientific thinking, he said at a symposium in 2011. A dozen years later, many of the scientists will look at how the stars of the Earth system intersect agree. It's the recognition that, oh my God, we have tipping points. Oh my God, the Holocene is the only state that can support us. Johan Rockstrom, head of the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, told AFP, the paradigm shift is the realization that we are leaving the Holocene and entering the Anthropocene minefield of resistance. Other scientists, however, remain unconfident, including powerful gatekeepers, lobbying against the Anthropocene being adopted as a formal epic. The condition which broke about glaciation, a dozen mini ice ages over the last million years haven't changed. So we might expect that the Holocene is simply another interglacial. Phil Gilbert, secretary of the ICS, told the Geological Fights podcast last year. He suggests that the planet could continue in that pattern for another 50 million years. As for the Anthropocene, Kipling has suggested calling it an event covering millennia of human alteration of the environment. In geology, he noted an event can be anything from a single raindrop hitting a lump of clay to the great oxidation event that transformed Earth's atmosphere some 2.2 billion years ago. For Jan, for Jan Zelensky, which a journeyman geologist who rose to the challenge of leading the Anthropocene working group through a forest of evidence and a minefield of resistance for more than a decade. That is not good enough. Failure to formally ratify the concept, he said, would leave the impression that the Holocene conditions that allows human civilization to flourish are still there. Clearly, they are not, he told AFP. I'm concerned that if the word Anthropocene continues to mean different things to different people, then it will lose its significance and simply fade away. In the end, Zelensky said, we can only follow the evidence. Science is basically trying to establish what is real and as opposite to what's not, he said. And the Anthropocene is real. Okay, so it's my turn. And next is Salva.
Okay, and start. The title is sorry. Maybe I can to share screen. You can see.
Yes.
Okay. The title is Birds or Rivers on Aeronauts. Urban can wake in Ghent, France, Frankfurt, Germany. The European Centre of an ECB launched a survey on Monday asking citizens to weigh in on the redesign of Eurobanknotes, with rivers, bird and arrow and culture among the short-listed themes. We want European to identify with the design of Eurobanknotes, which is why they will play an active role in selecting the new theme. ECB President Christine Lagarde said in a statement, the online survey running until August 31 responded to share their opinion on 7 possible themes for the new notes. This include birds, free, resilient, inspiring, and refers the water of life in European, as well as more abstract ideas such as the future is yours, European culture, and our arrow, ourself. The ECB, which has also this a research company which asking a representative sample of euro area citizen the same question will announce the chosen the next year. A design competition will follow and European will then again be asked to choose their favorite option for the Euro pills which come in a 6 denomination. The ACB will announce the final decision on the future design and on when the new note will be produced and issued in 2026. The Frankfurt institution announced in the late 2021 that is wanted a phrase look for 20 years. Old banknotes, the original design for the block single currently was fraught with political tension and added up costing of symbolic illustration of architecture to avoid stirring national rivalries. ECB officials have expressed the hope that by involving the public in the first life, younger Europeans will feel more connected to the single. Certainly, regularly updating banknotes is also necessary to stay a step ahead of counterfeiters in a world where production technology are rapidly evolving. The statement added. Okay, thank you. Maybe the next.
Okay. Wih, Melura. Oh iya, tadi. Oke. Hah? Ora, aku. Oh, lampu sekilan. Hah? Ilmu. Iya. Ilmu iki. Kapak sewu.
Sorry, Satria.
Okay, sorry, I am disconnect.
Okay.
We've managed to restore 60% of the direct connection with China we had before the pandemic, and we hope to increase this figure by year end and close the gap next year. Miguel Sanz, General Director of Spain's Tourism Board, Tulispana, told Reuters. Air China, China Eastern Airlines, Cathay Pacific, and Hainan Airlines have in the past 4 months launched a total of 16 weekly flights to Madrid and Barcelona, from Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Chongqing, according to Tulispana. In late 2022, China's airlines operated only 3 flights. Shenzhen Airlines is preparing to launch 3 flights to Barcelona, and another airlines Suns would not identify is considering connecting a Chinese city with southern Spain. Airlines, including European ones, used to operate 30 weekly flights during the high season between China and Spain before the pandemic. Spain received 700,000 Chinese visitors in 2019. This year's number are not yet available. Unable to fly through Russian airspace because of the war in Ukraine, EAG's Spanish unit Iberia has not resumed its Shanghai connection as alternative routes are too costly. Spain is one of the world's most visited countries with mass tourism destination on its Mediterranean coast. The capital city, Madrid, underwent a facelift during the pandemic as part of a plan to attract five-star hotel and high-spending tourists. Seeing an opportunity to diversify connection, Turespana moved quickly to attract Chinese carriers back to Spain as soon as Beijing dropped its travel restriction. Sun said he was the first Western tourism official to visit China earlier this year to promote that plan with authorities, tour operators, and airlines. Suns will also charge the European Travel Commission, pointed to similar level of pent-up demand for travel in China as in Europe or America. Spain is strengthening consular services in China to make visa approvals swifter, he added. Steeple cap. In a spirit development, the Dutch government is allowed to reduce the number of flights at Schiphol Airport. The Amsterdam Court of Appeal ruled on Friday. Airlines, including Air France KLM, had won a case in a lower court against a government plan to cut annual flights there to 460,000 from 500,000. In a statement, KLM said it was disappointed by the ruling and was studying it. The government had announced the cap in February, calling it a temporary solution to cut noise pollution and to tackle other environmental issues. Royal Schiphol Group, the operator of airports in the Netherlands, is majority owned by the Dutch state. Okay, next.
Okay, so wait. So it's my turn. Let me share screen. Okay. Okay. Then start telling again. Welcome to the Anthropocene, chapter for Earth. Scientists seek to find the threshold for the epic of humans by Merleau Wood. Against the French press or Paris. Since 2009, a cloistered band of heartbroken geologists and other scientists have toiled on a mission of great consequence. On Tuesday, they will deliver the last of their finding the loose location of ground zero for the Anthropocene. The proposed geological epic burn of humanity's outsized impact on the planet. And as said, the Anthropocene working group was mandated by the High Priest of Earth's geological timeline to answer their three questions. The first, roughly, is this: would aliens shifting through Earth's layered rocks and sediment a million years from now isn't a human signature distinctive enough to mark a clear geological boundary? If they did, when would it start? Yes, the working group concluded. Human appetites and activity have affected the planet and its inhabitants from the stability of the Holocene epoch, which began 11,700 years ago as the last ice age ended. The world is getting uncomfortably hot and its life support systems are failing. The threshold for the epic of humans first proposed in 2002 by chemistry Nobel Paul Crutzen. They said should be the mid-20th century. This is when a sharp growth in greenhouse gas concentration, microplastic pollution, invasive species, radioactive traces from atom bomb testing, and a dozen other markers of our species' growing influence added up to what scientists now call the Great Acceleration. The left the question of the coldest spike, the single lake deposit, coral reef, ice core, or other geological repository of evidence that the best embodies the Anthropocene. The winner will be announced Tuesday in joint press conference at the Max Planck Society in Berlin and a meeting of working group scientists in Lille, France. Paradigm shift. Presented as recommendations, the fruit of the working group's long labors must now be validated by a council of skeptical, hard-nosed scientists at the International Commission on Stratigraphy (ICS) and higher up the food chain, the International Union of Ecological Science (IUGS). The chances of that happening are slim, according to almost everyone involved. At one level, the issues under debate are narrow to the point of penetrate rock experts squibbling over whether the Anthropocene merits inclusion in the International Chronostratigraphic Chart, the planet official for 4.6 billion years timeline. Some geologists say it does not meet the technical criteria, even as they acknowledge a rupture with the past. At the same time, marking the end of the Holocene and the start of a new epoch will force us to ponder humanity's devastating impact. For the first time in Earth's history, a single species has not only radically changed the planet's morphology, chemistry, and biology, but is aware of having done so. Crutzen will earn a Nobel Prize for identifying the man-made chemicals destroying the protective ozone layer. Both the concept and reality of the Anthropocene will focus minds on the challenge ahead. It could well be paradigm shift in scientific thinking, he said at a symposium in 2011. It could well be paradigm shift in scientific thinking, he said at a symposium in 2011. A dozen years later, many of scientists will look at how the strength of the Earth system interacts is the recognition that, oh my God, we have tipping points. Oh my God, the Holocene is the only state that can support us. Johan Rockström, head of the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, told AFP, the paradigm shift is the realization that we are leaving the Holocene and entering the Anthropocene minefield of resistance. Other scientists, however, remain unconfident and unconvinced, including powerful gatekeepers lobbying against the Anthropocene being adopted as a formal epic. the condition which broke apart glaciation, a dozen mini ice age over the last million years haven't changed. So we might expect that the Holocene is simply another interglacial. Bill Gilbert, secretary of the ICS, told the Geological Space podcast last year. He suggests the planets could continue in that pattern for another 50 million years. As for the Anthropocene, Gilbert has suggested calling it an event covering millennia of human alteration of the environment. In geology, is not an event can be anything from a single raindrop hitting a lump of clay to the great oxidation event that transformed Earth's atmosphere some 2.2 billion years ago. For Jan which a journeyman geologist who rose to the challenge of leading the Anthropocene working group through a forest of evidence and minefield of resistance for more than a decade, that is not good enough. Failure to formally ratify the concept, he said, was leave the impression that the Holocene conditions that allowed human civilization to flourish are still there. Clearly, they are not, he told AFP. I'm concerned that if the word Anthropocene continues to mean different things to different people, then it will lose its significance and simply fade away. In the end, Selassie, which we can only follow the evidence. Science is basically trying to establish what's real as opposite to what's not, he said, and the Anthropocene is real. Alright, so next is Salva again. Salva, hello.
Pause.
Okay, I can read one newspaper. The title is "Port are Reverse on Aeronauts European can week in." Again, Frank praised Frankfurt, German. The European Central Bank (ECB) launched a survey on Monday as citizens to weigh in on the residents of European notes with reverse birth and European culture among the shortlisted terms. We want Europeans to identify with the design of European notes, which is why they will play an active role in selecting the new terms. ECB President Christine Lagarde said in a statement, the online survey running until August 31 asked respondents to share their opinion on 7 possible themes for the new notes. These include birds, free resailing, inspiring, and refers the water of life in Europe. Sorry, life in Europe, as well as more abstract ideas such as the future is your European culture and ourselves. The ECB, which has also tasked a research company which asking a representative sample of euro area citizens, the same question will announce the chosen them next year. A design competition will follow, and European will then again be asked to choose their favorite option for the Europel, which come in 6 denominations. The ECB will announce the final decision on the future design and on when the new notes will be production and issued in 2026. The Frankfurt institution announced in the late 2021 that it wanted a fresh look for the 20 years old banknotes. The original design for the plug single-churnedly was fraught with political tension and ended with political tension. Causing of symbolic illustration of architecture to avoid stirring national rivalries. ACB officials have expressed the hope that by involving the public in the phase life younger Europe will feel more connected to single-channelly, regularly updating banknotes. It's also necessary to stay a step ahead of counterfeiters in a world where reproduction technology are rapidly evolving. The statement added. Okay, maybe the next.
Okay, my last turn. Oke, apa sudah terlihat? Oke. Chinese Airlines set sights on Spain at more flights by Reuters. Madrid or Amsterdam. Chinese Airlines have upped the number of weekly flights to Spain by more than 5 times since the end of China's zero COVID policy in December, filling most of the gap left by European rivals due to a ban on flying over Russia. We've managed to restore 60% of the direct connection with China we had before the pandemic, and we hope to increase this feature by year end and close the gap next year. Miguel Sanz, General Director of Spain's Tourism Board, Respana told Reuters. Air China, China Eastern Airlines, Cathay Pacific, and Hainan Airlines have in the past 4 months launched a total of 16 weekly flights to Madrid and Barcelona from Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Chongqing, according to Torrespana. In late 2022, Chinese Airlines operated only 3 flights. Shenzhen Airlines is preparing to launch 3 flights to Barcelona, and another airline Suns will not identify in considering connecting a China city with southern Spain. Airlines, including European ones, used to operate 30 weekly flights during the high season between China and Spain before the pandemic. Spain received 700,000 Chinese visitors in 2019. This year's number are not yet available. Unable to fly through Russian airspace because of the war in Ukraine, EAG's Spanish unit Iberia has not resumed its Shanghai connection as alternative routes are too costly. Spain is one of the world's most visited countries with mass tourism destination on its Mediterranean coast. The capital city Madrid underwent a facelift during the pandemic as part of a plan to attract five-star hotel and high-spending tourists. Seeing an opportunity to diversify connection to Respana moved quickly to attract Chinese carriers back to Spain as soon as Beijing dropped its travel restriction. Sun said he was the first Western tourism official to visit China earlier this year to promote that plan with authorities, tour operators, and airlines. Sanz, who also chairs the European Travel Commission, pointed to similar levels of pent-up demand for travel in China as in Europe or America. Spain is strengthening consular services in China to make visa approvals swifter, he added. Schiphol cap. In a spirit development, the Dutch government is allowed to reduce the number of flights at Schiphol Airport, the Amsterdam Court of Appeal wrote on Friday. Airlines, including Air France KLM, had won a case in a lower court against a government plan to cut annual flights there to 460,000 from 500,000. In a statement, KLM said it was disappointed by the ruling and was studying it. The government had announced the cap in February, calling it a temporary solution to cut noise pollution and to tackle other environmental issues. Royal Schiphol Group, the operator of airports in the Netherlands, is majority owned by the two states. Okay, next.
Yes, so it's my turn. And starting again, my favorite title. Welcome to the Anthropocene, your chapter for planet Earth. Scientists seek to find the threshold for the epic of humans by Miro Wood against the French press or Paris. Signed 2009, a cloistered band of Earth rock geologists and other scientists have toiled on a mission of great consequence. On Tuesday, they will deliver the last of their findings, the location of ground zero for the Anthropocene. The proposed geological epic of burn of humanity's outside impact on the planet. In a sense, the Anthropocene working group was mandated by the heights of Earth's geological timeline to answer three questions. The first, roughly, is this. Would aliens shifting through Earth's layered rocks and sediment a million years from now desert a human signature distinctive enough to mark a clear geological boundary? If they did, when would it start? Yes, the working group concluded. Human appetites and activity have affected the planet and its inhabitants. From the stability of the Holocene epoch, which began 11,700 years ago as the last ice age ended, the world is getting uncomfortably hot and its life support systems are failing. The threshold for the epoch of humans first proposed in 2002 by chemistry Nobel Paul Crutzen. They said should be the mid-20th century. This is when a sharp surge in greenhouse gas concentration, microplastic pollution, invasive species, radioactive traces from atom bomb testing, and a dozen other markers of our species growing up. The growing influence added up to what scientists now call the Great Acceleration. The leaves the question of the culture spike, the single leg deposit, coral reef, ice core, or other geological repository of evidence that best embodies the Anthropocene. The winner will be announced Tuesday in joint press conferences at the Max Planck Society in Berlin and a meeting of working group scientists in Lille, France. A paradigm shift presented as recommendations, the fruit of the working group's long labors must now be validated by a gauntlet of skeptical but noted scientists at the International Commission on Stratigraphy (ICS) and higher up the food chain, the International Union of Geological Science (IUGS). The chances of that happening are slim, according to almost everyone involved. At one level, the issues under debate are narrow to the point of penetrate. Rock experts quibbling over whatever the Anthropocene merits inclusion in the International Chronostratigraphic Chart, the planet's official 4.6 billion years timeline. Some geologists say it does not meet the technical criteria, even as they acknowledge a rupture with the past. At the same time, marking the end of the Holocene and the start of a new epoch will force us to control humanity's devastating impact. For the first time in Earth's history, a single species has not only radically changed the planet's morphology, chemistry, and biology, but is aware of having done so. Crutzen, who earned a Nobel Prize for identifying the man-made chemicals destroying the protective ozone layer, hoped the concept and reality of the Anthropocene would focus mind on the challenge ahead. It could well be a paradigm shift in scientific thinking. He said at a symposium in 2011. A dozen years later, many of scientists who look at how the strands of the Earth system intersect agree. It's the recognition that, oh my god, we have tipping points. Oh my god, the Holocene is the only state that can support us. John Rostrom, head of the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, told AFP. The paradigm shift is the realization that we are leaving the Holocene and entering the Anthropocene. Mindful of resistance. Other scientists, however, remain unconfident, including powerful gatekeepers, lobbying against the Anthropocene being adopted as a formal epoch. The condition which brought about glaciation, a dozen mini ice ages over the last million years haven't changed. So we might expect that the Holocene is simply another interglacial. Bill Gilbert, secretary of the ICS, told the Geology podcast last year. He suggests the planet would continue in that pattern for another 20 million years. As for the Anthropocene, Gilbert has suggested calling it an event covering millennia of human alteration of the environment. In geology, he noted an event can be anything from a single raindrop hitting a lump of clay to the great oxidation event that transformed Earth's atmosphere some 2.2 billion years ago. For Jan Zelazevich, a journeyman geologist who rose the challenge of leading the Anthropocene working group through a forest of evidence and minefield of resistance for more than a decade, that is not good enough. Prior to formally ratify the concept, he said Walter left the impression that the Holocene constitution that allowed human civilization to flourish as they dare. Clearly, they are not. He told AFP. I am concerned that if the word Anthropocene continues to mean different things to different people, then it will lose its significance and simply fade away. In the end, Zelensky said, we can only follow the evidence. Science is basically trying to establish what's real as opposite to what's not, he said. And the Anthropocene is real. Okay, so in my storytelling, next is Salva. Salva, hello.
Okay, I think that's enough for today. Thank you, everyone. Good morning.
Okay, thank you.